Hi everybody. Hey, today we're going to take a look at something that I use quite often now. It's how to play the Barry Harris 6th diminished scale, major and minor. There's two of them we're going to look at. And how to use it to accompany is how I'm going to look at it today, how I use it in an accompaniment mode. Using only 3 notes in my chord. Now you might say, well, hey, a 6th chord has 4 notes in it. How are you going to do it with 3? Well, that's the dirty little secret that we're going to explore. We really only need three notes, and even though there's a note missing in each one of these shapes that we're going to look at, it's going to sound. So the first thing I would encourage you to do, if you're as you start to watch this, if you're not familiar with some of these shapes I'm going to lay on you, click the link in the description, and I have this charted out for you. It's a free download. It'll take you right to the download area, and you can download the charts for free for the Barry Harris major and minor 6th diminished scale that I'm explaining using only 3 tones. So let's jump right in and talk about what is this. Essentially what Barry has created is, and this is just a small scratching of the surface. We're not going to go anywhere near the detail that he has, and it's brilliant what he's done. But we'll be taking a major 6th chord, playing a root position and 3 inversions. If it's a 6th chord, there's 4 notes in it. A 4-note chord only has 4 possibilities: the root position, the 3rd on the bottom, the 5th on the bottom, or the 6th on the bottom. That's the spelling of a major 6th. So we're going to start with a G6 using 3-note voices. So what we're saying is 1 note is going to be missing in each of these shapes, but they're still going to sound, it's still going to work fine. So our first grip is this: 6th string, 3rd fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, 4th fret. That'll be a G6. Now there's really no 5th in this chord. Now you might take a piece of tab paper or a blank chord grid or whatever and write these down if you want to help remember them. But again, this is big string 3, 4th string 2, 3rd string 4. That's the root position. Now the next note in the G6 would be the next inversion would be, the first inversion would be a B with a B on the bottom. So we're going to play 3 notes here. B on the 7th fret of the big string, the G note on the 4th string 5, and then finally the D note on the 3rd string 7. So that's really just a G triad, but it'll work over a G6. So far we have this grip, we'll call root position because it's built on the root. Then this will be the first inversion. We'll just call it G over B because B is the lowest note. When someone says G over or whatever, the right hand side of the slash, when you see that, is referring to the lowest note in the chord. Okay, that's G over B. Now what would be next? Well, G over D, because D is the 5th of G. So here's G over D. So now we're in the 9th position, and all position means is what finger, where is my index finger? Well, it's on 9. So I'm covering the 10th fret of the big string with my 2nd finger, the strings 4 and 3 with my index finger, and I'm just barring them. So now I've got root position, 1st inversion, 2nd inversion, and now the next note in a G6 would be an E. That would be the 6th of the chord. Well, E's on the 12th fret. And we're keeping these 4 chord groups, or I want to say it, the root and 3 inversions, we're keeping them all on the same string set. String 6, 4, and 3. Then finally at the 12th fret we play strings 6, 4, and 3. So that's our root. 1st inversion, G over B. 2nd inversion, we'll call it G over D. 3rd inversion, G over E. Now remember, there's a tone missing in all these, but don't let that fool with you too much. Don't worry about it. Too much theory just gets in the way sometimes. So if a chord was static and lasting a couple measures or more, you could use these inversions running between them to fill up space, give yourself some movement. Now what we're going to do, though, to flesh this out, is we're going to add a diminished chord after each one of those G and the inversions. I'm a little tongue-tied here this afternoon. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. G. We're going to play the G scale. Now this scale is different because the scale that Barry came up with has an additional note. It's an 8-note scale, so it's got a sharp 5 in it. Okay, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sharp 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So here's our first position, our root position, G sixth. The second note in the G scale is A, so we'll come to A and we'll play this diminished shape. Now we're going to end up using 4 diminished shapes, and they're all going to be the same shape. So this shape is in the 4th position. It's the big string 5, the 4th string 4, and the 3rd string 5. So G, A diminished, G over B is the next note in the scale. And then the next note is C. Well, we'll go to the C diminished, and it'll be the same shape. This is 8, 7, and 8. Okay, so the first 4. Step 1, step 2 is diminished. Step 3 is a G inversion. Step 4 is a diminished. Now step 5 will be G over D that we just learned a minute ago. And then step sharp 5 will be our diminished shape again. So far we have the same shape, and we know that diminished chords repeat every 3 frets. Okay, now step 6, G over E at the 12th fret. And then we have another diminished here in the 13th position, so we'll be 14 on the big string, 13 on the 4th, and 14 on the 3rd. And lo and behold, when we go to move it up, the 15th fret, there we are, back where we started, an octave higher. Let me play that again and not say too much. There you have it. So there's our G scale. Our G major, our major 6th diminished scale, thank you, Barry Harris, using 3 notes. Now, why do I use 3 notes? Well, because a lot of the gypsy jazz guys only use 3-note voicings occasionally. That doesn't mean they always do it, but occasionally that's all they're playing. Same thing with the big band fellows when they're playing on these 3 strings. A lot of times that's all they're playing is these 3-note grips. That way it doesn't interfere with anybody else. And it's a great way to put some bottom end on your playing. And so on. So that's it. That's the major 6th diminished. Now we're going to take a look at the minor 6th diminished real quick, because all we have to do to make it a minor 6th, like we would do in any major to minor situation, is we're going to flat the 3rd. So now we're going to start with a minor 6th, what we're going to call a minor 6th. Now remember, there's a note missing, we know that. So now we're in the 2nd position, and we have the big string 3, the 4th string 2, and the 3rd string 2. Okay, well, and you might want to write these down too, and when you do, and make sure you download the link. That's going to be the key to this. Will really help you understand it. When we'll go through the root position and the 3 inversions here quickly. There's the first one, the root position, G minor 6th. G minor 6th over B flat. That's the big string 6, the 4th string 5, and the 3rd string 7. Then the 2nd inversion is the big string 10, the 4th string 8, the 3rd string 9. The 3rd inversion, surprise, is the same as the 3rd inversion we used when we did the major. The 12th fret, strings 6, 4, and 3, all at the 12th fret. Why? Because that chord has no third in it, so it can't clash. It's not major, it's a chameleon. It'll fit over major, it'll fit over minor. Just like a power chord, when you play a root and a 5, you can play over a major chord or a minor chord, nothing to clash. And then finally we get back to root position. In the 14th position, it's the big string 15, 4th string at 14, and the 3rd string at 15. So that's it. There's our positions. Okay, now we do the same thing that we did in the major 6 diminished. We add the same diminished chords, and it's just one shape, and it'll be in the same spots exactly. I'm sorry, let me start with minor. So we start with G minor. Then when we go to the second step of the scale, A, look, the same shape. It's the same shape. So what we're seeing here is these shapes have more than one use. Ah, duh. Hello. Now I'm going to do another video that actually tells you that with 7 shapes, you'll be able to play chords from all the 5 major families: major, minor, dominant, minor 7 flat 5, and diminished, which is 7 grips. Bucky Pizzarelli did a great book in the 70s showing how to do this with 13 grips, and I've cut it down for me where I can do what I want, which is 7, and I'm going to teach that to you in the next video, so stay tuned for that. So here we go with our G minor 6 diminished. Here's step 1. Step 2, A diminished. Step 3, G minor 6th over B. Step 4, C diminished. Step 5, G minor 6th over D. Sharp 5, that's our D sharp diminished. Step 6, G minor 6th over E. Step 7, F sharp diminished, we're using the same shape. And then step 8, and lo and behold, it's the same shape that we just used on F sharp diminished. See, so that's a double usage shape. Some of these shapes are going to have 3 and 4 uses. It's pretty mind-boggling how it works. Okay, so to recap, what we've learned here is the major 6th diminished, the minor 6th diminished scale. And like I said, if you go to the link in the that I have in the description here, or in the comment section, one of the two, you'll be able to download the chart that tells exactly what I'm talking about. So if a chord is static for a while, you can use these shapes and move around and have some movement rather than just sitting on the chord. All right, this has been a really brief explanation. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll answer them if I can. And thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell, and watch for other videos. Like I said, I am going to make another video where I show you how to add. We'll really only have to add 2 more shapes to what we've learned today, and that'll give us 7, and we'll be able to play. That'll give us 7. We'll be able to play all the major chord groups: major, minor, dominant, minor 7 flat 5, and diminished. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Stay tuned. See you again.